Looking to share a bit of the national parks with someone in your life? Maybe that someone is you. Then check out our Gaze Shop, featuring designs inspired by the sights, monuments, and majesty of America's national parks.
And to celebrate our 1-year anniversary of the Gaze Shop being open, the entire shop is 30% off for the first week of June.
But that's not all. Ladies and gentlethems, please welcome to the stage our sticker collection, including our Gaze logo, our Hike Early and Hike Often design, and the iconic Going to the Sun Road design, all in sticker format.
Whether it's art for your wall or a sticker for your water bottle, you're sure to find something that sparks your love for the outdoors. Visit shop.gazeatthenationalparks.com to bring some of the national parks home with you. Let's talk about food as motivation.
Food is motivation. Well, I mean, in general, food is motivation.
It certainly is.
It is, yeah.
What about on a long hike? I mean, I remember distinctly there have been many times where the only thing that has gotten me through is knowing that there's going to be a Ruby Tuesday salad bar at the end of it. Right.
Totally. I mean, I feel like obviously we have snacks and things like that to sustain us, but we like really traditionally don't eat like in our recent hikings, we've been better about like packing a sandwich, like a peanut butter sandwich or two. But we traditionally were just like grazing our way through our hikes.
Right.
Which I kind of liked. But then like as we had started to add more and more on, it was like, no, we need the energy.
Have this, yeah.
But even still with that energy, it's like, oh my God, like the things I want to do are take my hiking boots off, lay in a cold room under a sheet and eat somewhere that's delicious. Like have a delicious, like I really just want a plate of French fries and a beer in front of me.
Yes.
That's usually like,
and also
that's
like,
my oasis, like mirage kind of moment.
And I really like the sitting down somewhere and getting that, because I like that action of, I feel like there's some sort of cleansing happening, like rather than getting off the trail and just getting back to like a tent and eating something there.
Right. It's like a conscious separation between one event to the next. And I feel like it totally is like, I did this thing outdoors for like 8 hours and now I want to be indoors again.
And now I want to be indoors.
For even just the briefest moment of times before my indoor moment is also outdoors because I'm in a tent.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
It's a nice sort of like moment of zen.
Reprieve. Yeah.
No matter where it is.
Yeah.
No matter what the circumstances.
That's right. Yeah. Sweet tomatoes. We got your number.
Yes. That was in Fresno.
It was. Yeah.
And we went there almost every night.
We did. Just like we did the Zion Brewery twice when we were there.
Yes.
So we definitely have had some like good haunts to like hit that we were just like, you know what? This is all I want and this is what I'm going to get. Or, you know, our patron saint, Lady Cracker Barrel.
Lady Cracker Barrel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where they sit us in the same section all the time.
Every time.
With
in the back
the one
section,
gay waiter.
With the one queer waiter.
That's right.
Looking for adventure, I want to follow on the trail, or get a little lost and let the wind fill my sails. Get up when the stars still fill the sky, don't wake the sun, there's so much to be done, and the day has just begun. Go where the postcards are real, you can feel, you can open your eyes and open your heart when you gaze at the national park.
Follow you there.
At the national park. At the national park. Follow you, I'll follow you there.
We would like to acknowledge that while hiking in the land, also known as Glacier National Park, that we are on the traditional and stolen lands of the Blackfeet Nation and the Tanaha people.
In our previous episode, we finished hiking the Sai Pass.
That's right. There are a suite of episodes, which if you haven't listened to
there are 3
yet,
of them.
You get to experience from start to finish this point-to-point hike, which was quite a day of adventure for us. That was in a lot of ways very unexpected.
And that was episodes 79, 80, and 81.
That's right. We definitely were like, we need to be motivated by something other than a bag of Backpackers Pantry, which, listen, I would eat Backpackers Pantry for dinner if I had to in a pinch at home, because it's great, not an official sponsor, but they could be, and we would gladly, hawk their product because it's really great. But we definitely were like, where can we find something that's local and eat somewhere that is a local space?
And also pizza sounds great this evening.
Yeah, and we had some great like Colorado pizza. We've had pizza elsewhere.
We've had pizza all over the place, but
that's not like a pizza specific destination. On
this trip, we had done Chicago pizza, which was delicious, and that was really beautiful.
Miss Deep Dish herself.
Yes, and then we knew there was a pizza spot over at St. Mary's. It was called Rising Sun Pizza,
right?
And so we wanted to give that a try.
There really wasn't much else. Like there was that and a taco place.
That was about it.
Maybe a bar.
I think there was a bar. Yeah, there was. Yeah. There was. So we planned while we were doing that hike, we were like, tonight would be a great night to treat ourselves to pizza instead of Backpackers Pantry.
Yeah.
And I'm very glad that we did.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely a little bit of a wait, but we could also get beer there. I think I had what was it? It was the Moose. It had a very specific name.
We both had that beer and it was really good.
It was good. It was like a local Montana beer, and I want to say it was called Moose Jaw, but that's not it.
It was so easy to get to Rising Sun Pizza because we didn't even have to drive. We walked from our campsite across the street, and there it was, Rising Sun Pizza. I mean, I think it was like a couple doors down.
Yeah.
There was also a little convenience store right there that also sold beer.
And Dots Pretzels.
And Dots Pretzels. Yeah. It's true. We got some of those.
Also not an official sponsor, but damn.
We do love those. Yeah. It was great. There was only seating outside because it was high COVID summer. So we sat outside and we had to wait for a table to become available. And then some people got up. So we sat down and then these two young men asked if they could join us.
And we're married to them now.
We're married to them now. Right. No, they were like, 20,
no, they
19,
they were
21.
Like, they were like in their they were in the spring of their youth.
The spring of their youth.
That's right.
And
yet to enter
there were just no other seats. So they did ask if they could sit with us. And so we chatted with them. They were doing summer jobs in Glacier between school and
some guiding, I think.
They were telling us about what they were up to. And it was so fun to learn about all of the opportunities for summer work that there is in the national parks, particularly a big one like Glacier.
Yeah. And especially I think in that summer where people were a little bit more inclined to get out and where there were a lot of openings, but not a lot of people willing to fill them. So I think the opportunity was ripe if you were looking for a job. And I think that still is sort of the case in some industries.
We got up later than usual the next morning.
Right. This was our last day in Glacier.
No lie. I was exhausted. I was so tired. I've never been that tired ever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes. I was thoroughly. Well,
It's
throughly.
It's thoroughly is thoroughly and truly. Thoroughly.
Yeah, I was.
Exhausted.
I was thoroughly exhausted.
From that Saeed Pass hike the day before, but also just we had not stopped hiking since Sunday.
Yes.
We had hiked a full day every single day up until this point, and this was Friday.
Yes. We were truly run through.
Right.
With the tireds.
We took our time a little bit this morning.
Right. We weren't breaking camp, but we were...
Because we were in our cabin.
Right. But we weren't leaving. This wasn't like our last day when we were hitting the road. It was our last official day of hiking.
Last full day of hiking here in Glacier. Yeah. And we were in a primitive cabin at Johnson's of St. Mary's. Yeah. This was the day in the morning where we learned about the bear drama, which if you want to learn about the bear drama that happened at Johnson's of St. Mary's while we were staying there, we encourage you to go listen to our trail mix called Bear Aware.
It's about more than just that, but
to hear the whole story, so many other helpful tips about how to be bear aware.
You came out like Bert and Mary Poppins when he had his outfit of instruments on.
I have got some scoop for you.
Yeah.
Glacier National Park is broken into a number of different sections. The section that has and contains going to the Sun Road is sort of like the main section.
Yeah.
And there's like an east part of the park and a west part of the park. The east part of that section of the park is close to St. Mary's. west side of the park is closer to
Kalispell and West Glacier.
Right? There's an area above West Glacier called
Polebridge.
And then we spoke about Mini Glacier, which is sort of in the northeast area of Glacier National Park. Now we were headed to the southeast area of Glacier National Park on this day, which is called Two Medicine.
That's right. It's one of Becky's favorite areas to hike. She was so glad that we had time to kind of include it in our travels because she's like, a lot of people just skip it like when they're here. So she was like, this was a great thing for us to do. And she was excited. She's like, listen, Scenic Point would be the hike for you to just definitely get on. So just something to keep in the back of your mind as you were planning.
Here's a little background about the Two Medicine area, about how it got its name and how it became part of Glacier National Park. We are quoting Becky Lomax from her book, her Moon Travel Guide to Glacier National Park. This is found on page 180. Quote, Two Medicine acquired its name from Blackfeet legends. According to one story, two Piegan tribes planned to meet for a medicine ceremony in the valley. Failing to find each other, they both celebrated independently. In another version, two lodges for the sun dance sat on either side of the Two Medicine Creek. Either way, the name stuck. The 1896 land sale between the Blackfeet and the federal government included the Two Medicine area. Starving and nearly decimated as a nation, the Blackfeet swapped part of their reservation land from the Continental Divide to the current reservation boundary for $1.5 million. A mere pittance considering the worth of the parklands.
We America. So yeah, we were planning to get to the section because we had really wanted to be able to hike, a large majority of the park. So Two Medicine was a spot that, Becky wholeheartedly was like, get there because...
And don't miss it.
Because it gets often overlooked because there's a lot of other things to see. And that is for sure the truth.
We left that morning.
And I wasn't driving because we weren't going to be on the Sun Road.
That's right. I was driving. So we drove south out of St. Mary's. And there was a turnoff, not too many miles down the road to head toward the Two Medicine area. So we turned right and we headed toward Two Medicine. All in all, it took us maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah, we sort of retraced a little bit of our steps from when we had to do flat tire repair.
Yeah, that's right.
We had to kind of do a little bit of a retrace to get to where we needed to for Two Medicine. But yeah, it was a little bit of a drive for sure. So it is something to kind of be conscious of. It's not as close as some of the other sections of the park. Again, this all depends on where you're staying. We happen to be literally a stone's throw from the Sun Road.
The east entrance of the Sun Road.
The weird thing about getting to Two Medicine from where we were at is that you could go one of two ways. And one way was shorter, but it looked to be windier when we looked at the GPS, but it was going to get us there quicker. And then there was a little bit of a roundabout way that was a little longer, but it seemed like it was like two straight shots. It was kind of like a right angle, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
And so
because that would take us through the town of East Glacier.
Right. So we opted for the shorter, windier route. But as we drove, this road quickly became, this is like sort of like the
Sun Road.
The Sun Road.
It's starting to feel like the Sun Road.
And also, we are gaining elevation.
and the ledge is like right off to our right. Mm-hmm. So this turned into me.
I think I asked you, I was like, and how are we doing?
And I said, not great. This isn't great. We're going to need to adjust this. Mm-hmm. So we pulled over.
So who drove again?
And we switched and Mike drove again.
That's right.
And just so you know, everybody, since this moment, anytime we're in the car together, I have always driven because Mike is like, no, you still haven't paid back your debts.
Absolutely incorrect. Yeah. You are like, the indentured servitude of driving over here.
Wow. Well, right? I mean, you're the one who instituted those rules.
Yeah, that's it. So as we pull into Two Medicine, this windy road eventually abates and you do kind of crest, but then you do go back down. So it's sort of like a pass essentially that you have to go over to get where you need to. We eventually get down. There's a little bit of turning off here and there. We realize we will take the other road on the way back because we don't want to have to deal with this again.
That's right.
But it wasn't that much further after we'd come off of this kind of like windy cliff road that we were essentially into Medicine and getting to the section where we were going to hike. We have to go through an entrance station here. There's a giant lake that's there, and it looks like it's also like a big kind of boating area.
Yes.
There's a lot big of people, parking lot. Yeah.
doing like
Water
some lake
activities.
floating
Yeah.
and some boating and some water activities
Yeah.
here on this day as well.
So we had to actually, in order to find the trailhead for what we were doing, we had to actually loop back in order to get there, which is off the road, and it's a dirt kind of parking lot that's there.
But we found the
Yeah.
trailhead and the parking area for the trailhead, which could probably hold maybe 20 cars.
Yeah.
We park and we're like, all right, we found it. All
Yeah.
right, this is it. So we gear up. We take a look at the map, which we had from one of our books.
Yeah.
We forgot
Stretched.
I thought we forgot to stretch.
Oh, well, that too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we forgot to stretch.
Yeah.
And then we decided to head off onto the trail.
Yeah. The first leg of the trail is sort of just a walk through the woods, and it's really
Flat,
flat
pleasant,
for the most part, and calm and very peaceful.
easy.
I think we were also like living our, anytime we saw something that was like a wildflower, we were like, what's that? We were
we
playing
were trying
the
to
like
identify.
identification game.
There were some people coming off of it right when we were going on. And I'll say this, there was only maybe like, I think we only saw maybe max 7 more people on this trail after those people. If that,
it was a small smattering of folks. The lot was not crowded at all.
Right.
No.
There were
So-
only like maybe 2 other cars in the
yeah,
lot.
yeah. So we do end up getting some uphill as we're going through the woods, and this comes very quickly. It is like almost very immediate. It's like, oh, flat to pretty big incline right away.
We also see a turnoff for the falls.
Right.
There's this area called the falls that we could hike to. And I felt like we could hear them from where we were on the
because
trail.
they really weren't that far off. So we're like, you know what? This will be our end of the trail reward. We'll go look at the falls after. We'll do
Perfect.
this. That'll be a perfect way to end.
So we continue through the woods. The incline is getting a little bit more, but it's dealable
Yeah.
at this point. And then it opens up into this giant open valley.
Yeah.
Sweeping, it was sort of like a tunnel of a valley.
Yeah.
And in the valley, it's just covered in dead trees.
Yes. This was like more kind of harrowing than what we had seen in the Sunrift Gorge. The other day.
was, yes.
And Becky was like, she was telling us about this story about this tree. They're like, you're going to see this one tree and you'll know what it is. And I forget what she kept calling
They
that
called
tree.
it the Buddha tree.
The Buddha tree. That's right. The day before when we were hiking in Sunrift Gorge, they're like, this is nothing compared to Two Medicine. Just wait. And they were talking about the Buddha tree, according to the outline.
And also all of the dead trees here. What was strange was that there was a lot of green in the ground.
Yeah.
The ground was
Yeah.
very green,
Yeah.
but coming out of it were dead trees.
Yes. It was also, just truly, the trees are like a bleached white too, which is makes it very ghostly.
They're like
know?
almost driftwood-like.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
feel almost like that.
Yeah.
So as we're walking through this section, the open valley, we do come upon a tree that we're like, that's the Buddha tree.
Yeah.
That's got to be it, right?
Yeah.
And we take pictures of it. We're looking at it and we're like, this has got to be the tree they're
Yeah,
talking about.
'cause it was big.
It was big. We clock it and we're like, okay. I mean, maybe it is, maybe it's not.
Yeah.
We'll see if maybe like there's another one on the way.
there was a little bit of an argument. I think it was, I'm pretty sure that's the Buddha tree. And you're like, I don't think so.
Oh, I don't remember an
Yeah.
argument. I'm surprised that you've internalized it that way.
Because I hold on to these things.
Let's talk about why.
To strike when the time is right.
Right, there you go.
Exactly.
For your scorekeeping.
That's right.
So we are like, this is probably it. Not sure. Maybe there's another one along the way.
Right.
So we continue walking. Essentially what's going on is like everything's sloping up to the left.
Yes.
And we're walking really far and
Out.
really deep into this valley.
yeah.
And we're like, we're not sure where Scenic Point is.
No.
Where the terminal point is. Like, are we going to a peak? Are we
Right.
going to look at? We aren't sure.
Because there's a lot of peaks above the valley.
But
too.
we do know that at some point, this trail is going to make a U-turn.
Yeah.
And we're going really, really far out.
Yeah.
And the U-turn is just not happening.
No.
And then we got to that section. We got to the part where the U-turn happened. The trail sort of changed in its
Appearance.
terrain.
Yeah.
The terrain was different because it had been like a soft ground and then it became like
Craggy, rocky.
gravelly.
And very stark.
It was sort of like walking on shells.
walking on or on broken glass, as Annie Lennox
Yes.
said at one point.
There
in
we
her
go.
career.
Exactly.
Right, Mother Annie.
We finally encountered the section that we encountered the section that now we call the switchbacks, which we didn't really know that switchbacks were going to be like a main part of this because they were not really indicated on the map that we had. And so this was a surprise.
And with that, let's take our first break.
No one has a business like yours. With all its strengths and challenges, to succeed, you need a hiring partner that adapts to your needs. You need Indeed.
Indeed is the hiring platform where you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, Indeed's a powerful hiring partner that can help you do it all.
Find great talent faster through time-saving tools like Indeed Instant Match, assessments, and virtual interviews. With Instant Match, over 80% of employers can get quality candidates whose resume on Indeed matches their job description the moment they sponsor a job, according to Indeed Data US.
One of the things that I love about Indeed is that it makes hiring all in one place so easy because Indeed has such great talent. In fact, 3 out of 4 U.S. online job seekers search for jobs on Indeed each month, according to ComScore. And when you sponsor an Indeed post in the U.S., you're 3 times more likely to get a hire, according to Indeed data. Even better, Indeed's the only job site where you only pay for applications that meet your must-have requirements.
Indeed is an unbelievably powerful hiring partner, delivering 4 times more hires than all other job sites combined, according to Talent Nest 2019. The right candidate is doing everything they can do to find you. And if you use Indeed, you can be sure you're doing everything you can to find them too. So join more than 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast.
Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/gaze. Offer good for a limited time. Claim your $75 credit right now at Indeed.com/gaze, and that's GAZE.
That's Indeed.com/gaze. Terms and conditions apply. Pay per qualified applicant. Not available for all users. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Today's episode of Gaze at the National Parks is sponsored by TrueFire.com, the planet's largest and most comprehensive selection of online guitar lessons, according to Guitar Player magazine.
TrueFire's interactive learning tools and massive library of over 50,000 video lessons help guitarists ignite their technical skills, harmonic knowledge, rhythm playing, and soloing. Over 2 million guitar players worldwide learn, practice, and play with TrueFire. Using TrueFire's desktop and mobile apps, guitarists work with multi-angle HD video lessons on any device, anytime, anywhere, and at their own pace. TrueFire's style-specific learning paths guide guitarists every step of the way. Use the assessment tools to find your starting point, then follow the lesson recommendations and track your progress as you work through your personalized TrueFire study plan.
And TrueFire's educators are the best in the biz. From Grammy Award winners to world-renowned artists, TrueFire students have access to an unparalleled faculty of over 300 top-notch blues, rock, jazz, country, and acoustic guitar educators. Guitar players can progress faster with private one-on-one instruction, group lessons, multi-track video jams, live streams, song lessons, premium tracks, and so much more. With thousands of 5-star reviews from amateur and pro players alike, you'll find yourself in good company with the world's most comprehensive guitar learning platform.
So grab your guitar and ignite your musicality. Visit TrueFire.com and use code GAZE for your free 30-day all-access trial and 50% off your first purchase. That's TrueFire.com/gaze. And that's GAZE, GAZE.
All right. We're playing one letter change.
Right, because we needed this day
We
to keep our sanity.
So much one letter change on this day.
Yeah.
And we started the games early on.
Oh.
Like right at this spot in the trail, we started playing the games.
We needed it because our bodies and our minds were like, what have you done to us?
Why have you done this?
Why?
What is wrong with you?
Right.
Right.
So we've got some new one letter changes for one another.
Here we go.
Yeah, great.
Start us off.
Great. If you have to do a job at the beach that involves a bunch of cleaning, maybe you're raking the sand, maybe you're turning over all the shells so they can get sun on one side, maybe you're sweeping the ocean back into itself, you might be doing this.
Oh, wow. Is shore one of the words?
It sure is.
Oh, I don't know.
What's a shore chore?
A shore chore.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is a room full of video games where one might spend a Friday night, but it's also very mysterious.
Oh.
I'm going to need you to say oh again.
Oh. A room full of video games.
Yeah.
Is arcade one of the
correct.
words? Okay. But it's also very mysterious. What is an arcane arcade?
That's right.
There you go. Great. Okay. So if you were accidentally or purposefully the starter of a fire, you would get this.
Is arson one of the words?
No.
Is fine one of the words?
Mm-mm.
Blame?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, flame blame.
That's right.
Great.
We've had that, but for separate reasons in our
Yes.
lives.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. My next one. Okay, so if you had a hat on,
Mm-hmm.
but the part that stuck out
Mm-hmm.
was made of this soft cheese.
What is a brie brim?
That's right.
Nom nom nom.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If you
And if you haven't figured this out yet, one letter changes. You start with a word and then you come up with the same word, but one letter is different.
Mhm.
And so you have to use a clue to guess what it is.
So this is my last one. If you're holding something emits light and the melted wax from it allows you to be able to grip it, you have this.
What is a candle handle?
That's right.
Okay, great. Okay. This drink that's neither wine nor beer, but somewhere in the middle,
Mhm.
that's made from honey,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really old and has lost all of its flavor.
What's dead mead?
That's right. There you go.
And that's one letter change.
We start these switchbacks
Mm-hmm.
with the change in terrain, and immediately the grade of these switchbacks, it changes.
Yes, the first leg, which wasn't, I guess we wouldn't consider it the switchback, but the lead up to the first one is a very gentle uphill.
And we said so many times, we're like, oh gosh, this is such a nice trail to do on our last day because
Mhm.
it's not so hard.
Also, one other thing to kind of keep in mind, you were exposed to the sun the entire time, except for the beginning of
The
the trail.
entire time.
And that's like for a blip. So
The
yeah.
entire time.
Mhm.
And so the incline suddenly starts and woof, this is immediately very hard.
Yeah. Plus, if you remember from Act 1, Dusty's explanation of what the ground was like walking on shells.
It was not great.
No.
It was not great.
Yeah.
And I was in hiking boots that were awful at this
That were
point
falling
in time.
apart.
Falling apart. Thought they were great.
Yeah.
Got them because I heard they were great, but
Yeah.
they were terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've used this phrase before, but all of my incline tokens had been spent. I'd used them all in the previous part of the week.
Everything.
And so at this point, I was literally just throwing one leg in front of another.
Mhm.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great. Not my finest moment.
Mm-hmm.
How were you feeling?
How am I feeling? I don't think I realized how tired I was until today, like that day of hiking. It really had it was such a beautiful experience to be able to see so much of Glacier, but my body was just like, stop moving. I definitely was tired. It was also still very beautiful, and it was such different, weird terrain that we hadn't experienced in the park. So I was kind of like, okay, I'm tired, but this is sort of an adventure. But if I could have had like an IV of coffee into my body at that point, I would have taken it because
something.
I needed something there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There were small moments on the trail where it would like level off, those were tiny, small moments of reprieve.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the fully exposed sun the whole time, sometimes the switchbacks were long, sometimes they were short.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. The incline was there the whole time.
Yeah. And as you got closer to the top of the switchbacks, that was where it was like, well, where are we actually going? And it was like, oh, these are shorter, but you're going to gain a lot more incline quicker.
Right.
Like as we hit that kind of final section of switchbacks.
Still sloping up the same side we've been sloping up during the open valley section.
Yeah.
This was where we ran into somebody.
Two people.
A
couple, assumedly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this was where I was like, oh, the things I don't need in my life. But the man was fully carrying like a sidearm, just openly.
We had not seen this before on a trail. This was our first time.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, clocked. And also, why?
Yeah.
And we thought maybe it's for bear safety.
I think so. Well, remember we had that conversation with our ragtag group of like camper friends.
Yeah.
And they were like, I carry a gun for bear safety.
Oh yeah, they were saying
they
that.
were like, so
they were like bear spray doesn't work. They were like
they were
really.
They were like, we've got guns, and like
and I was like, I'm not doing that.
No, I'm
not doing that. Thanks.
That's okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. No,
this was right near this giant rock, and they had been perched up on that rock.
Yeah.
And then they were coming down.
Yeah. And you were definitely like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go out there.
No.
I have no interest in that.
No, because it was like a tiny little ledge to like get yourself over to this rock.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm good.
Just to say, as you have made this incline, as we have like slugged our way up, probably the trickiest part of the trail, to the left, you are seeing beautiful. Like the lake, the mountains in the distance. The reason they had cropped out, or, those people had gone out to that point, was they wanted to get an even better look, which I honestly think you could have gotten from the trail. So, but it was spectacular. You were at a high elevation at this point because it's a ton of switchbacks that you have slugged yourself up.
And the trail sort of does come to like a ledge edge around this curve.
You have to curve. Yeah.
And you're going around this part of this slope peak, I guess we'd call it.
Yeah.
It does sort of slope downward from there. It's not like just a sheer drop off.
No.
But it's a little more of a ledge than we had seen before.
Yeah.
Before, like, if you fall off the trail, like, you're going to land on the switchback below.
Yeah.
Not exactly the case here.
No.
You're going to end up on a hillside rolling down.
Yeah.
Which you don't want that
momentum.
either.
No.
And you're going to gain momentum.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good.
Eventually, after sort of curving around this edge, we sort of start to head up to what looks like is going to be a saddle, or we assume at this moment in time, because we don't really know where we're headed right now.
Right.
Like, we're following the trail. We know we're headed to a spot called Scenic Point, but as we sort of are very high right now, like, and a little bit more level, or a little lower than the peaks, but a lot higher than we were when we started the hike, we're like, well, we could be going to any of these paces.
We could be going anywhere.
Because the trail sort of just like, it's hard to tell because the ground and the trail are almost the same color. So you have to sort of like walk on it.
Like beyond where you are, when you do finally get to a spot where it's a little more level and we can see in front of us in all directions, and you don't really see which direction the trail is going.
Right.
Which is fun for the adventurous mind, but not necessarily fun for the planning mind.
Yeah.
We were standing in this one section, and it brought us up to this area that's really open, and there was this sort of like sloped, like upward formation over to
like an outcropping of some
our
sort.
Left.
Yep.
It was like, okay, well, this is interesting.
The
Like,
rock was sort of redder here.
yes.
And like Dusty saying, that big outcropping is up to our left. You walk past it. It's big, so it takes a little while
to walk past it.
But then you can kind of go off trail a little bit. And I really mean by a little bit, because you're pretty close to the ledge to the left.
You're pretty close.
But you get a really spectacular view here.
Oh, the whole time. It's
the whole
just
time
giant and
point.
open.
Yeah.
This is the start of what I'd call panorama views from different angles.
Yeah.
Because after walking past the saddle, there's this like long stretch that's sort of along what looks like a sheer drop off.
Yeah.
Or what feels like a sheer drop off, but you're not really like next to it.
No.
It's a little far off. So I felt very safe the whole time.
That's Dusty seal of approval right there. But you're in this like, so it's almost like the big red outcropping up to our left. There's a little bit of a gap of open space. And then to your right is like this cliff edge that you're walking, and it's on your right hand side, and the drop off, air quotes, is on the left. So it's like you're kind of trading these giant like outcroppings above you from one side to the next. And you're in the shadow here, which was nice. So you get a little bit of reprieve from the sun.
And there was some grass here too.
Yes.
I remember.
Things started to become greener.
Because the terrain changed again. We'd gone from grass to sort of like grassy and dirt to sort of like really harsh gravel to sort of like open rock face. To now grass and trail again.
What you could sort of see in the distance was bigger areas of grass, because you can see, even though you're along the rock edge, you see sort of like a big giant open meadow field kind of.
That's sort of jutting out into things, and which I'd never really seen that before.
No.
Like in a sort of way that a mesa does. That
it
just sort of like juts out into this area. And there's a sign in the distance, and we can see the sign. And we're like, maybe that's the terminal point. Maybe that sign is the terminal point because there's no one else out here.
No, literally.
Not a single other person is here. So we continue hiking toward that sign.
Yes.
And it takes a long time. It took way longer than I thought to get to that sign.
At this point, we're in the field, like fully in this fieldy area. We've gone past the outcropping on our right, and now we're just back in open area again, too. Now, when we do hit that sign, the sign says that Scenic Point is still a full mile away.
That's right. Scenic Point is a round trip distance of 7.4 miles. So we're talking like 3.7 miles out. This felt longer than 3.7 miles to me at this point in time.
But I think our bodies had betrayed us.
And it was saying the whole time that the duration was going to take about 4 hours. And we were like, 4 hours for 7 miles feels
lofty,
long, right? And it also said the elevation gain was 2,124 feet, which we had certainly gained. But we still had a mile left before we got to the terminal point. And with that, let's take our next break.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Mary Scream.
Mary Scream.
Mary Scream.
We will explain where we got this name
momentarily.
In the next act of our episode. But Mary Scream, who is she?
Mary Scream is a scream queen.
I feel like she is definitely a ghoul queen.
She's a ghoul queen. She also has an ice cream truck.
Oh, I like that.
I scream, you scream, Mary Scream.
Yes, Mary Scream. Mary screams cream.
That's right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like she's like a high fashion ghost.
Great.
That's what I feel like.
Serving us Halloween looks.
She is serving us like elevated couture, but ghostly, like the gaunt jaw, like the sort of like sunken in feature. Like she is fully a ghost.
Okay.
Like I think that's her character.
Oh, okay.
Like Mary as a drag queen is a ghost.
Great.
Who just happens to be a high fashion couture ghost.
Well, stranger things have happened out there in the world.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like she walks the runway, but in her runway, she has, different ghoul ghost outfits that transition from one to another.
I feel like chains and shackles are a big part of her outfitting.
Right.
Yes.
Like
Marley's ghost.
Like Jacob Marley, but make it couture.
That's right.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I feel like there's definitely...
I feel like Marley Jacob would be a great drag name
Marley
as well.
Jacob.
Marley Jacob.
Welcome to the stage. That could also be definitely a clothing line for high-powered...
Oh, you know what? Maybe Marley Jacob is her clothing line.
There we go.
That's it. So Mary Scream is the drag queen. Marley Jacob is her clothing line.
Right. It's power suits for the gaunt and deadly.
Power suits for the ghost and ghoulie.
That's right.
For the ghost and ghoulie inside
so that's
of
our
you.
merch, Marley Jacob.
Marley Jacob, yes. Yes. I think
but she also has
and
an ice cream truck.
Yeah.
She's a multifaceted ghost queen.
Exactly.
Ooh.
Right.
But what does she sing?
I feel like, you know what? I feel like she doesn't lip sync.
Oh, she just moans?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She's just like moaning Myrtle from Harry Potter, right?
Right.
Or like if she does, it's just the ahs that you hear from like Into the Unknown from Frozen.
Ah, okay.
You know what I
so
mean?
she's like an ethereal queen.
An ethereal spirit queen, right? Because you can't physically touch her because she's a ghost.
I feel like she could pull off an Enya song or a Dido song.
Certainly. Yeah.
Those
this
would be
is her
like wafy, like
a
women.
Celtic woman type of situation.
That's right.
Yeah. All of that. All of the above.
Can say
Exactly.
where the day goes.
But it's scary.
Who can say?
I hope everybody who was listening, I hope if you were driving that you are safe. I hope that if you are walking, you did not fall over. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage.
Mary Scream. I mean, Scream was in the name.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. I don't blame you for screaming.
It was a little bit of like Gwar, I feel like, is what I served you. Gwar. They were like a heavy metal band that like dressed up like scary people.
I don't know her.
Gwar.
So we had about a mile left before this terminal point. So we said, okay, we got to just go.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there is spectacular views over to the right. You can see all of the Blackfeet Reservation.
Honestly, there were views. It's like
On
we're
all
in
sides.
panorama.
This is panorama on every side, 360 degrees. Fantastic views.
There was, if I remember, a threat of thunderstorms or rain that day that we kept sort of like looking out because you could sort of in the distance see very far away like
gray
dark clouds, like, and it'd be like, oh, there's rain over there. You can actually see those heavy clouds when the rain sort of comes down and it looks like the clouds drift downward. But yeah, that was something we were definitely watching.
Mike was standing on the, you were standing near the edge, looking at it, singing, "Here Comes the Rain Again," because that's your fantasy.
That is.
It's just to be
Annie Lennox.
That's
right.
Right. So
I don't think you'd be mad about that.
Not at all.
I wouldn't be.
So we're walking out toward the terminal point. It does slope a little bit more here. And it's just enough to be clockable and to feel even more tiring than we were feeling at this time already.
So after this long mile that felt like forever, we finally get to the spot known as Scenic Point. And it is truly breathtaking. I know we said that a lot in Glacier, and honestly, there's so much breathtaking to go around that it's hard to just say it for one thing, because it truly is a spectacular view. Because unlike, I think, anything we even saw on the Sahi Pass, we literally have a 360 view here. When we were at the top of Sahi, we had the mountain behind us, so we were only getting like a 180 sort of view. We didn't get really to see like all of Pegan Pass and like behind us because it had been blocked at that point. So we're really just taking it all in.
There was one other young woman who'd come up like right behind us, and she was sitting a little further over too.
She was trucking.
She
was like, "Can you take a photo?" We're like, "Of course." Like, do you want photos of you? And we're like, "Sure."
We were so tired at that point.
Yeah.
But we had stopped here and we ate one of our sandwiches.
Yeah.
One of our peanut butter sandwiches for the day because we needed it. But I do remember it was a lot windier up there. It was hard to find a spot where it wasn't windy to eat.
Right.
Because like one side of it was really windy and then the other side was less windy.
Yeah. And there were also flies up here. I remember there being a lot of bugs up in this section.
Yes.
Yeah.
There were a lot of bugs.
Yeah. You were like, "Give me that bug spray right now."
Right.
Just like that. I was like,
just like that.
This is why I have fears, everyone. We just like really took it all in. We watched the dark clouds in the distance that were way far off. We weren't too concerned.
Mike felt them calling to him.
I did.
Just like that.
But yeah, it was definitely like, gosh, this is sort of the last thing we're going to do here. And what a spectacular final thing, because it was truly just so beautiful. We sat up here for at least a good 15, 20 minutes, just enjoying the view, eating, and just like taking it all in. It was really just quite lovely.
It was. The terrain sort of reminded me, this was a terrain I feel like we hadn't really seen before, something that changed this much. And also,
somehow heartache feels good here.
Did you see that?
Yes.
I wrote that somewhere. Where did I write that? Yeah, there it is.
I hope you enjoyed my attempt at her accent.
Heartache feels good here. But This terrain was ever changing.
Yeah.
It felt a little like sliding sands in Haleakala in Maui because the terrain keeps changing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it was just open. So open.
I remember in this moment before we turned around and started going back that I was like, you know what? It's downhill from here. This is a downhill hike. There's going to be downhill every day for a few days because from here we're going to Yellowstone and those trails are going to be so easy and we won't even really have uphill again until we get to Grand Tetons.
Foreshadowing.
And if you've listened to our Yellowstone episodes, you'll know what a fool I was in this moment to even entertain these thoughts.
It's gonna happen.
Right.
Happens sometimes.
So sitting and eating definitely did rejuvenate us and give us enough spring in our step to start heading back down. And that is what we did. So we start on the return.
Yes.
We head down from Scenic Point, and our first checkpoint is the sign that we had seen.
We saw like a whole family here.
That's right.
The one daughter looked like someone we had seen like on a trail the day before. And I was like, or if it wasn't on the Acai Pass, it was another day. And I was like, oh, did we see you? And she's like, no. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. You look exactly like someone we did see. They're like, oh, okay. And I was like, we'd run into a lot of people at this point that we'd been repeaters. So
That's
we were
right.
like, they were like, no.
We talked to them for a
We
second,
did,
though.
yeah.
They were saying like they had come.
I think it was only their first or second day in the park. So
and
we
that they were
like,
headed to a few other spots.
Yeah.
We told them about some things to do if
Yeah.
they were interested.
Yeah.
We walk around the long curve back across to, the saddle.
Yeah.
And then we continue on down toward the switchbacks.
Yeah.
And they somehow feel longer here.
Yeah.
Somehow Heartbreak feels good here.
It's true, Nicole.
Yeah.
It does.
We're referencing the Nicole Kidman
AMC
ad
ad.
for AMC.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, oh my God, please gift it to yourself and go watch it.
The switchbacks truly felt like
Painful.
misery.
They
Yeah.
were misery at this point. I mean, heading down, it was a lot easier, for me,
Yeah.
at least. I was ready for that downhill, but it was a thing where, we're still doing this.
Yeah.
We're still
Yeah.
doing this.
Yeah.
And it's still there. And the
Yeah.
switchbacks we're not done with them.
Yeah. As we're walking, try to see if we can see the Buddha tree. I think I was not the truther here. You were the truther. I was like, I'm pretty sure we saw the Buddha tree already.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, I don't think it's that.
I
And
just
so-
wanted to be sure in case we missed something else. But
Yeah.
then we did finally make it back down to that tree that we thought was the Buddha tree. And we were like, there's no way this isn't it.
Yeah.
This has got to be it.
Yeah. We get back to the open valley section. We make our way down and get to the turnoff for the falls, which again, we can hear. And there was like a family, I think, that was coming back from it. And I think we both looked at each other and said, no,
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 No.
that would be nice, but no,
no.
we're done.
Not today.
Yeah.
We're done. No.
Yeah. So we trudge our way back to the car. I think there was some thunder at this point. Like
There
when
was.
we were down
it was
here.
finally
Yeah.
starting to get a little darker
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
As we make our way back to the car, we see this hiker who is getting out of another car.
Yeah. Like a minivan.
Yeah, like this hiker had gotten out of a minivan, and the hiker was in like his, I don't know,
Late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, something like that. But the driver of the car, she was in her early 50s.
Sure.
And she was getting out and helping him get stuff out. And they hugged and he departed. And she said, oh, yeah, this is my son. And like they both laughed about that. And then he went on and I was like, was that a joke? Was it not a joke?
It was a joke.
But I think it was a joke.
She did. She explained, oh no, he's a through hiker and I just picked him up to drop him off.
I just picked him up to drop him off.
Yeah.
But it didn't take long for our conversation to continue because why?
So in the first 2 days of the trip, when we were in Indiana Sand Dunes, something you'll hear about next season, I was making us dinner one night and I totally poured scalding hot water all over my hand. This was like karma coming for me when we joked about waking Dusty up through scalding.
Right.
It's no joke, folks.
Because you had heated some hot water in a kettle to make
We don't have to tell them how I did it.
Backpackers Pantry.
We can just say it happened.
No. We're going to get into it. Backpackers Pantry, like the bag is designed for you to like pop it open at the bottom so it can sit on a flat surface or stand on a flat surface.
Yeah.
And then you can pour the water in. But Mike decided to...
I decided to hold the bag because I was tired, and now I am painted as an incompetent.
And how does that feel now? How does it feel to be painted in a light that is vaguely inaccurate?
Vaguely inaccurate. I take offense.
So
anyway,
meanwhile, needless to say, you burned the tar out of your hand, literally.
Right. And he just like prodded me and made fun of me for it, just like he did now. Because what a sensitive friend he is.
Because I said, oh my God, what do you need? How can I help you? And we got you bandaged up.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And so for most of the hike, for most of the trip at this point, this was like the end of week 3. I think that was the start of week 1.
The burning happened at the start of week 1.
My hand had gone through like a transformation of like, it looked okay after a few days, and then it started to blister, and then the blisters popped, and then it was, the process of healing.
So all of this is prologue to this moment with this woman she told us her name was Regina.
Regina, yeah.
So Regina's standing there talking to us, and that's when she says, yeah, he's the thru hiker, I just dropped him off. Without missing a beat, she's like, oh, what happened to your hand?
Because it was pretty healed at this point. It wasn't too bad. I explained the story of my incompetency.
What did she do?
She said she didn't even ask. She just went into her car.
She just motioned for us to follow her. So we walk over to her car. Mm-hmm. She pulls out this tube of stuff.
Yeah. Called
Mary's Transdermal Cream.
Mm-hmm.
And what does she do?
She just puts it on my hand without even asking.
Doesn't ask.
No.
Puts it right on Mike's burn. And she's like, this stuff is made with
cannabis.
Yeah. And she's like, and it's going to take care of it.
Yeah.
And then she was talking about how she
works with autistic students.
She works with young people, some of whom are autistic,
mm-hmm.
some of whom have ADHD. Mm-hmm. And she said, and what they would do, and y'all, I don't know how legal this is. So we are not saying that this is something people should do, but she was just sharing the story with us.
And we're sharing it with you.
That she would often put just a tiny little dab on a student's wrists, and it would just calm them down just a little bit.
Yeah.
And so she was a big proponent of Mary's Transdermal Cream.
And let me tell you, I'm not, they're not an official sponsor, but my hand healed so fast after that. Again, it was pretty quickly. It was pretty good looking at that point, but it was very clear that I had done something to it. There's no scar. There's nothing.
The next day, it barely looked like anything had ever happened to your hand. Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah.
And we were like, damn, Mary's Transdermal Cream really works.
Yeah. And you can get yours.
Right.
But seriously,
again,
if you can
not an
some,
official sponsor.
Get some because
they have a website.
They do.
You can look them up too.
They're Colorado based, I believe.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. And they ship.
But yeah, Regina was just like, I'm taking charge here. And she did. I'm not mad about it.
That's right.
After our encounter with Regina and her very helpful salve,
Salve. Well, it was
a
solved with her salve. And she did it herself.
It was a self solve.
Words that sort of sound the same but are not.
That's our Jeopardy for today.
That's a new category of game.
So we were told that we should check out this Mexican restaurant in
East Glacier
called Serrano's. If you're in East Glacier or near East Glacier, do check this restaurant out.
So good. So we left the parking lot and we were driving to the town of East Glacier, which took us maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We had to drive underneath the
train bridge.
There was a little like overpass, like we had to drive underneath the train. And then it was like we drove underneath the train and ta-da, we were in the little town of East Glacier.
And this is where the Amtrak train comes in.
That's right.
If you're taking a train to Glacier.
That's right. And so we saw Serrano's and we walked in and we said, hey, we'd love to eat here. And they said, okay, it'll be a few minutes. There's going to be a little bit of a wait.
Yeah.
And we came back a few minutes later and they sat us right down and it was great.
Yeah.
This was where we made friends with the server. I forget her name.
She was sassy and I liked it.
She wasn't here for anybody's nonsense.
No.
But you were writing. We have journals both from park pages.
Yeah.
Go get yourself a journal from the park pages if you're interested. That's what we write down all of our trail like remembrances from
yeah.
so that we can use them to make outlines for our episodes.
Exactly.
So we were using one of the journals to write down the info from this day.
Yeah, so we didn't forget anything.
And she walked up and she went, "Oh, look at your cute book with your cute little penmanship."
That's right. I do have cute little penmanship.
You do. So yes, do check out Serrano's.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
But after that, we sort of just made our way back to camp. I think there was talk of like, well, do we go back on the Sun Road one last time once we can get on, like after 6?
After 6.
And I think we kind of were like,
No.
I think we're okay.
Yeah.
I think we've gotten so much from Glacier. I honestly hesitate to say, like, I don't know how else we would have filled our time. I don't know what else we could have done in the time that we had there. There were plenty of things we could have hiked that we didn't get a chance to. But this is one of those parks where I truly don't feel cheated in any way, shape, or form by any of the experiences. They were all so wonderful. They were all so outlandishly beautiful and surprising. It's definitely a park that I would get back to in a heartbeat, but also I'm like, gosh, I don't know if it would be able to top this experience.
That's right. I think the thing that I am taking away from Glacier is that we were there for basically 7 full days and we went 90 to nothing every day and we still didn't see everything.
Yeah.
And we still didn't do everything. We did most everything.
Most of the really major things.
Most of the major things, but there are definitely other trails that I would love to do.
Sure.
But I think it's just a thing about Glacier's a place to visit over and over and over again.
1000%. And we have some listeners that I know that do that and would wholeheartedly agree.
Let's put the Scenic Point Trail on the Cairnstone scale. So things we need to take into consideration here is our level of exhaustion just from the week.
Yeah.
And the fact that all of our incline tokens were spent.
Yep.
So at least mine were. So for me, I think Scenic Point Trail is an 8.
I was going to say 7. I think it's a great trail. I wouldn't miss it. If you can muster it and get there. Because I think it was really, really such a worth it trail. But yeah, it definitely, the thing that made it hard were those very, very long inclines in that very, very exposed area, which was very hot. It was a hot day. So yeah. So get yourself out to
that was
Scenic
a calorie
Point.
deficit day.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
It was like, how much can I put in my mouth at Serrano's?
Exactly. So that's 15 out of 20 Cairnstones. And now let's end this episode like we end all of our episodes with some Jeopardy style trivia. All right.
Why don't you get us started?
I will start us off. Okay. So I was inspired by the phrase incline tokens.
Great.
So this category of Jeopardy style trivia is called arcade games and prizes.
Oh, great.
Okay. So
the Arcane Arcade.
In this arcade game, I'm going to be, because I spent a lot of time in my youth at the arcade.
Mm-hmm. Selling drugs.
In each... No, that's what I do now. In each clue, I will be giving you clues toward what game I'm playing.
Okay.
And then what I used the tickets to get.
Okay, great.
So you're going to have to name the game and the prize that I earned.
Great.
You ready?
I am.
For 100. After spending hours in this car simulation game where I raced in places like San Francisco and Hawaii and New York City, I took my tickets to the counter and traded them for this lickable piece of hand jewelry.
Is the game What is Gran Torino?
Ooh, incorrect.
Okay. What's a ring pop?
That is correct, but we were looking for what is Cruisin' USA?
Cruisin' USA.
And ring pop.
Cruisin' USA is what you do right now.
Great. Great. Okay, for 200. I was never very good at this game, but I would watch other people who were really quick with their feet, and I would try to be as good as them. But it was no use. I would only ever earn a few participatory tickets, enough to trade them in at the prize counter for this tart candy, which I would put in a soda to sip it down and later eat.
So is it What is Dance Dance Revolution and a Warhead?
I would put it in a soda to sip down the soda.
What is a Twizzler?
Incorrect. So Dance Dance Revolution is correct. What is Dance Dance Revolution and Sour Straws?
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I'm getting one of them, but not the other.
For 300.
Okay.
I could also be found playing this 80s arcade game where the yellow circular character tried to eat as many little circles as possible and run away from ghosts. And I was hoping to earn enough tickets to go to the prize counter to earn the most expensive prize there, this machine that could play both tapes and CDs.
So what is Pac-Man and a Discman?
Yeah, or a boombox.
Okay.
I'll take that.
Okay.
Okay. For 400, I would typically bypass this classic non-electronic game at first and head back to it about a half an hour into my arcade evening. I had a system. I was only okay at pitching the ball up the ramp and into one of the many circles, and sometimes I would earn myself enough tickets to get these sports collectibles wrapped in Mylar packaging that I could add to my binder later.
So what's skee ball and trapper keeper dividers?
No. Sports collectibles wrapped in Mylar. Mylar is like this silvery.
Yeah. What are baseball cards?
That is correct.
Okay,
You got it.
I was like, binder.
Then I would later.
I
put
gotcha.
in a binder.
I gotcha.
And for 500, this became my favorite game. While it was a law enforcement simulator, it tested speed, judgment, memory, and accuracy. I would play this for hours and then turn in my tickets to receive this plastic version of a musical instrument that is prominently featured in Billy Joel's Piano Man.
Okay, so what is the RoboCop simulator and a harmonica? I really am bad at this. I'm getting one, but not the other.
What is Police Trainer?
Okay.
And harmonica?
Clearly, I did not spend a lot of time at the arcade as a child.
Well, when your parents go to the casino, which is what they would do in South Mississippi, you would spend your time at the arcade because they would build arcades into casinos.
There you go. Trap the whole family.
That's right.
Great. Well, that was a good category. My knowledge base is not that great about arcades or arcade prizes. Arcade prizes. Mm-hmm. My category is inspired by the phrase Scenic Point, and the category is titled Get to the Point. So I was really interested in, for this category, it's about films that are more character studies than plot driven. So I'm going to describe the film. Like, what's the point of the film? And you're going to just have to tell me what the film is.
Oh, okay.
So they're not like, heavy plot driven films.
Okay.
You'll get it.
Okay,
it's
great.
not going to be that hard. For 100. Okay. So there's a missing rug, a millionaire who lost his wife, a psychotic bowling league, some nihilist, and a dream sequence that seems to be referential to German opera and bowling. But all in all, this beloved film is more of a character study than a point-to-point plot adventure.
I have no idea.
What is The Big Lebowski?
I've not seen that movie.
Oh, well, there you go.
I think we covered this in another category.
Probably.
Right.
It's come up again. Okay. For 200. So there's this ballet, an overbearing mother trying to live out her dreams through her daughter, lipstick writing on mirrors, psychotic breaks, and so many feathers in this perfect film about a character's journey to perfection.
What is Black Swan?
That's correct. For 300. There's so much blood and carnage and plastic sheeting and working girls and Huey Lewis in the news in this film that gives us a glimpse into the dark psyche of the main character of the film.
No, I don't know.
What is American Psycho?
Oh, Huey Lewis in the news?
Oh my God. Yeah, he's obsessed with, he plays it all the time.
I've only ever watched that movie once.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Great. For 400.
No, the truth is I watched that movie on mute when I was a child so that no one would hear it.
Oh.
But I could watch all the scenes. That was why.
For 400. We're going to come back to that later. For 400, teen angst, college admissions, mother-daughter tension, perfect gay boyfriends, lousy first sexual experiences, and Catholicism, and leaving home for the East Coast are part of the centerpieces in the journey of this character and film.
Okay, the answer is what is Lady Bird?
That's correct.
But it could also be, if it weren't for Catholicism, it could also be what is saved.
I guess so.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Gay boyfriends.
But
she has sex with him to see if...
he's not gay.
because she thought...
it would save him.
Yeah, because she thought Jesus told her to do that.
Right. The things we think Jesus tells us to do.
Yes, right.
Okay, and for 500, a theater director and a MacArthur Genius Grant recipient, an artist wife who paints miniatures, divorce, a theatrical show that blurs the boundaries of real life and theater, a giant warehouse that's a city within a city, a mysterious illness, and Diane Wiest round out a journey of this mind-bending puzzle within a puzzle of a film.
What is Hereditary?
No,
I know it's not that. What is this an older film?
No, I think it's a 2000 somewhere film.
Okay.
Like late aughts. It's a Charlie Kaufman film.
You got me.
What is Schenectady, New York?
Didn't see it.
Oh, well,
Okay.
clearly I wrote you a kryptonite.
Yep. Clearly.
Yeah.
This has been Gaze at the National Parks, the podcast, and we're here to remind you to hike early and hike often, and that adventure is always out there.
Gaze at the National Parks was created and is hosted by us,
Dustin Ballard.
and Michael Ryan.
To see images from this episode, follow our Instagram at Gaze at the National Parks. To contact us, email us at gazeatthenationalparks@gmail.com. And to find out more about the parks visited on this show, visit our website, gazeatthenationalparks.com. That's Gaze, Gaze.
All original artwork featured on Instagram and on our website. All original artwork featured on Instagram, our website, and in the Gaze Shop is by me, Michael Ryan.
All original music was written by Dave Seaman and performed by Dave Seaman, Mariella Klinger, and Sean Sklios. Our music producer is Skyler Fortgang. This episode was edited by me, Dustin Ballard.
We would also like to acknowledge that we're recording this episode that we are on the traditional and stolen lands of the Lenape people, also known as Ocean County, New Jersey.